Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here, so welcome to another day on Riverview Farm. So I was a little bit restless in the evening, and so I went ahead and I got the first tomato trailer ready. So I have that ready to go for our level 10 orders. So if you're unfamiliar with what we're doing, or for even those who are, let's just go through a refresher of what we've got. So we're on the 10th level of our VIP orders. We've been running this series from the beginning, trying to basically focus on the VIPs. So I've got a few things going on. I've got a lot of things ready for level 10, but I'm always looking ahead at what's coming. And so the thing that we're going to talk about now is we've got raisins and we've got grape juice, which both need grapes. And grapes, I think, take a little bit of time to get going. I've never done grapes myself, other than as a contractor for folks on FS19 where they weren't part of base game. So very little familiarity and done nothing on FS22 with grapes. There is one thing I do know that is going to help make the first decision I'm going to go ahead and make. So obviously I need to put the grapes somewhere. You know, I like the fields I have. I'm using them for lots of other things. And so in my mind, at least, a vineyard is very straight. So to me, this field right here is perfect for what we need. So you can see it's 89,808 pounds. Compared to the others, it's kind of in between. You know, this one's 66,000 pounds per hectare, 44, 59, 58. You know, it is what it is. But the more important thing of, you know, really, honestly, of anything on the map, other than, say, this one down here that's kind of rectangular, this is as perfect a field we're going to get for just stringing some vines down them. You know, other than the ones I already have. But these are so small, and they're in the middle of things. I just don't know that I want to go ahead and tie them up with grapes. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this. So now we've expanded our farm a bit, and right now we have enough money. But my challenge is I'm not sure that I have what I need. So I've got grapevines, and the question is going to be, I know I was told by everything I've watched that I want to go across the entire field, because otherwise it doesn't snap. That's really expensive. Now, I'm guessing it's, in theory, snapping there. See, because there it pivots. So the problem is, and this is exactly what I have heard, is that, see, like now, they don't snap, or they do snap, but, alright, because that field isn't, I guess, perfectly straight, or maybe I didn't run the vines perfectly straight. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I can't do anything there. It won't let me place them. I don't understand. Is it the tree? It must be. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave. I don't really have an issue leaving that one thing alone, and it could be because, like, we have that tree on the edge. One cannot be accused of it being inexpensive, so basically it's gonna cost us many hundreds of thousands of dollars to put these vines in, which is kind of the disappointing thing. It's, you know, over 25,000 per row here. Alright, now because that's not colliding, I'm going to do that. Oops. So my concern is I'm going to be down to 600,000, 500,000 left, and I don't even have equipment yet. So this is the challenge that I see with the land of grapes. But I will say, I do like this field. It's I'm getting the vineyard vibe. I don't know if you are, but I'm pretty excited about it, at least from that standpoint. But yeah, at 26,000 a pop, I mean, I'm thinking I'm gonna have another 10 of these, so I'm gonna have, 250,000 or something. So my logic here, I scoped this field out earlier. It's 3.31 acres. And with the order sizes I need, of, I think, 10,000 raisins and 9,000 grape juice, what I've seen is that grapes provide about 3,700 liters per acre, which is not a huge amount, but there's also a mod I've gone ahead and gotten that people have recommended, which is called More Grapes. So I'm assuming it's going to do more than that, which is why I may have a lot more than I need here, but I'm just kind of going to go with it, because this is the field, and then again, like, this will be my grapes. Now the problem's going to be if I suddenly need olives, I'm going to need olive trees, so I don't know. Maybe I wonder, maybe I just stop with this. This is a good start. I can always plant more if I want. So we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 8 rows of grapes. So that means I've got about $200,000 worth of vines in here, which is kind of what I was worried, is that we'd be at like 450,000. And then yes, if I need olives or something, I can just put them in on the other side. So that's probably the more prudent thing. Because with more grapes, hopefully will be this half of this field will give me what the whole field would have given me, and then it would work. Because basically at about 3,700 per acre with the 3.3 acres, I'm looking at like 12,000 or something is what I would have gotten out of this. So that's enough to meet those needs, but obviously I have grape juice and I have raisins, so I need 2 harvests of grapes at a minimum just to do that. And so that's why I wanted to get the vines in, because I've got to figure out what to do with them. And again, I've watched some stuff on it, so I understand I now need to mulch. I need to then cultivate, but I need all this grape equipment. And the bigger question is, like, the small equipment I think I can go ahead and buy. And obviously if I have vines, logically it makes sense to do it. If I don't use it a lot, in theory I can at least get some money back. But a harvester was like $265,000. That's a big investment for a crop that right now I'm going to need 20,000 output on. Now, again, if I was going to keep going with it, it might make sense. So I think as we go forward, like if I continue to start seeing the new orders come in and level 14 and level 15 continue to need grape product, maybe I then would go ahead and do that. And hopefully I'll know that, because I'm hoping to have level 10 done pretty quickly. So, with that said, I'm going to now pivot and head in that direction. So right now, to some degree, the tomatoes are going to be a little bit challenging because I don't have 41,000, but I have a lot. The greenhouses were full, and so outside of what they put out here, which I think, again, it's 500 per pallet. So I think we're looking at 4,000 or so that sit outside. There's 8,000 that's stored inside. So in theory, I have 36,000 liters of tomatoes already. So I only need another 5,000 liters of tomatoes. But because of that, I'm going to go ahead and at least get this 18,000 delivered. And I'm probably going to get some other things completed just so we can quickly knock things out. So the other benefit we have with the VIPs, obviously, is we're getting that bonus for every level we end. And we're getting hundreds of thousands at this point, although the last level we just got added last episode, level 13, is just 111,000. So I was a little surprised, but we only have 3 products that we need to provide. It's just unfortunately, whoops, I think I bounced off a pole there. Let's see. I think I'm free, so hopefully that'll work. You know, one of them is potatoes, which might mean that I need to plant potatoes on several fields. I'm still not thinking I'm going to go ahead, and I certainly wouldn't do it on 42. That would be a forever harvest. You know, and while I need a couple 100,000 liters, I think I just don't remember what the order that I did fulfill is. So I may need to go back and look at my records if I can determine what it was that I had off that one field, and that can at least inform me enough what I need to do. Now I need 151,000 liters of potatoes for the next order as well. So, but if I can get enough potato in the field to work those together, I can at least again maximize, for example, yielding the potato harvester, and really, or leasing the potato harvester and the other pieces of equipment that I need to lease, like the planter. So I should be good here. Now, stews is where we need this, and this again, as we determined from other things with pallets, is really where this will go. So we can see the tomatoes are counting down. So that's always the challenge the first time we have an order, is just making sure that it's really being fulfilled, so that we're not getting crop going somewhere that then isn't giving us what we need. All right, so about 29,000 for that. So one row of grapevines basically has been paid for by an entire pallet load of tomatoes. And we have 23,000. Now we ran into this with the strawberries. This is 23,001. At the end we ended up needing 2 liters more. I had to bring one more thing over. So I'll probably take a look with that, because at this point I should have enough to bring this over. But what I'm going to divert to, because right now at least I have capacity, I've taken 18,000 tomatoes out of the greenhouses. So that means that there's room for 18,000 more tomatoes, if need be. And we don't need that many, obviously, at this point. So I'm less worried about that, but the general point is tomatoes can continue to grow, and there's no hindrance if I don't immediately go and bring another 18,000 tomatoes over. And, you know, it'll take a little bit of time to load the wagon and so forth, but there's another item that I need to deal with for level 10, which is 25,000 liters of wood. And I just really don't like logging, as I've shared before. And I am going to therefore tackle that and hopefully get it done. But if not, at least I'll understand better what it will take to get it done. Now I know it's a lot faster if I take some of the pine trees down. So I'm going to focus on pine trees around my property first, and then I'll worry about anything else. Now, as you can quickly tell, we have a little bit of a challenge here, in that I don't have a lot of pine trees, especially in the middle of the fields here. You know, one of the things that I could do, I'm somewhat rethinking this, Because if I take out the trees amongst the fields, at least it's easier to maneuver around the fields. Problem is, I don't think I'm going to get nearly as much as, say, these pine trees right here, that I have long straight trunks, and I'm going to get, you know, good money for them, and I could get 4,000 or 5,000 per tree. And it's not as if I've had any challenges really working around these trees. So right now I'm going to stick with my original plan. But what that means, and unless I run into a problem, this is my plan. I've got 3 tall trees back here that are pine trees. Whoops, I can turn this off for now, save myself some fuel. So I'm going to take out these 3 trees first, and then I'll probably go... Well, there's a couple more back. Oh, there's one more back there. I think the other one behind it is just a regular tree. So I potentially got 4 here, but I'll start with these 2. That might be enough to load up. And again, I need 25,000 liters that I need to get to the carpentry. And the benefit I'll have is the carpentry is mine. Actually, I don't own that right now, so I'm going to have to think about that. Because if I purchase that, I can then turn this wood into something else. And, well, and given that I need furniture, I think I've just answered my question. So let's go do that. Timber Time Woodwork is what we're looking at. It's over here in the little horseshoe town. So let's talk to the owner of Timber Time. Knock on the door. 60,000 pounds. Not a bad deal. Well, I'll go ahead and have that. That will add to my production chain. And here we go. I can make furniture out of either wood or furniture out of planks. And so the nice thing is now I'll be delivering wood. And so you can see for every 4 wood, I'm going to get 5 furniture, and I'm also going to get some wood chips. So I'm going to sell the wood chips. But I'm going to go ahead right now and store the furniture, because I do need that later. Now with the sawmill I own, like, I can already create wood. Now let's see. So if I have 5, see, I don't know that it's significantly better. Out of 5 I get 7 versus out of 4 I get 5, because that would really be like out of 5 I'd get 6. But again, I have to deliver wood for this order. So in the future, it might make sense if I just need furniture and I don't have wood to go ahead and do that. This again is something, if you're not familiar with this VIP Order Manager and you haven't used it before, this is where it becomes really interesting for me, is, you know, I need to deliver this to the carpentry. The carpentry then is needed to create furniture, which I need in a couple levels, which is why it's great that the VIPs let you know what they're looking for ahead of time. So I'm going to need 6,000 liters. I'm going to have plenty of wood to create furniture. I could stop production then, just leave the wood in the factory, whatever I want to do. But I don't want to be dealing with carting around wood chips and things like that, so I'll go ahead and sell those. And in the future, we're going to need to add the production of... Hey dear, how are you? We're going to need to add the production of the grape processing unit, but I don't need that right away. Alright, so I'm back here on the farm, and I am going to then, like I said, begin the wonderful thing, and I say that tongue-in-cheek, because anybody who knows me knows this is the job I dread the most. I do not enjoy getting rid of trees. So I'm not using logging equipment, I am just doing this to get things done. It's going to take some time, obviously. You know, now we need to... Okay, why? See, this is the part, like, these should be delimbing. It's probably, yeah, because I'm not down low enough. So the nice thing, this is why I like pines, because you can do this very, very quickly. So we've delimbed that whole thing. And then I'll do the same thing with this one. And then we just need to cut it up into some segments that work with the trailer. And then we just need to get them on the trailer, and we're good to go. So this should There we go. As long as I can kind of stay walking along the limb here, this will work. I'm hoping this isn't an irritating sound on the other end. It may be. You know, but then we start and we kind of figure where segments make sense. These might be too long, I don't know, but the longer they are, the more they fetch. But again, I'm not looking for dollars in this case, I'm just looking for total wood. Alright. If I need to cut them later, I'll cut them later. But I'm going to go ahead and get these two processed, get them on the trailer, and I'll be back as we're ready to run them over to the carpentry, and we'll see what this gets us, and then that will give me a better idea of what I need to do, how many more trees I need. Now there's a possibility this won't fill up this trailer, but I think it will, if I remember correctly from the little bit we had to do before. But if it'll take more, I'll probably cut that third one down here, and we'll just get them done. But let me get these onto the trailer, and I'll be back. Alright, so I've got this done. It appears that I've picked it all up. It's a bit challenging in the grass, honestly. Looks like I missed a little bit on the end of the delimbing, but I don't think that matters. It might actually give us $1 or $2 more, £1 or £2 more, not sure. But let me get this over to the carpentry shop that is now our carpentry shop, and I will then jump back in and let you know what we've got. Okay, so as we drive by the field here, our soybeans are clearly ready for harvest. Alright, so here we come up on the carpentry. I'll let this car go by. I think I can then sell... is it here, or is it... I don't know. I'll have to see. This might be where wood chips go. No, this is where the output will be. Alright, so we're going to sell the wood. It's a little clearer to see here. 6,574 liters were delivered. Now, I didn't pay attention because I was more worried about whether it would work in general, but I'm assuming we got paid for it as well. You know, and that may be what I was thinking was the 5,000. So I'm going to also, while I'm here, go ahead and get myself fueled up. Since I'm in town, that's how I always try to do that and be as efficient as possible so that I don't have to deal with that later. But the disappointing thing, I will say, and it is grossly disappointing, that means that I got about 3,000 liters off of each of those trees. That was it. Which means I need 8 trees. A lot more than I thought. So I may go ahead, although it's going to be messy, and it's going to take some time. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I need this wood, because again, since I'm not trying to get dollars per se out of this wood, I'm trying to get quantity. It may be that the non-pine will be more effective for the quantity of the wood. I don't think so, but I've never focused on wood in that aspect, so I don't know. But in the process, if I do that, then I can make it easier to work these fields as well. So I'm going to start with these 2 rows here, and we'll see. And if it's just a terrible job, because once again, I'm not really going to worry about delimbing too much. I'm just kind of going to throw them on here and keep moving them over. Again, I'm not going to show you all that unless I find it super intriguing or something. But I'm going to just keep working on this, and we'll see what we get. But then the added benefit we're going to get is I no longer have to worry about things getting hung up on these trees, and obviously I've got trees around the edge if I want. Now once I clear between the fields, I definitely would go to some other trees if this won't be enough. But that's going to be my plan for now, and we'll see what that turns into. It may be most of the rest of the day, I don't know. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, I have finished the wood. So it took a little bit of time, but I did verify, at least in some cases, the regular trees are better than the pine trees. So I ended up initially bringing back, after the 6,000 liters of the 2 pine trees, so basically a little over 3,000 liters each, I brought back 2 of the trees from between the field. And one of them was larger, but it wasn't gigantic, certainly. I didn't feel it was anything unique. And those trees ended up being another 12,000 between the 2 of them. Now, I've then brought an individual tree, so I took one near the entrance to field 42 that we just went by. There was one by the road there. That one was only maybe 1,500 liters, and I just brought a single tree to finish between fields 7 and 8. So all the trees between 7 and 8 are now gone, plus the 2 pines in the back, plus a tree over by field 42. So I think it's a total of 7 trees to get the 25,000 liters. But, you know, it's 2:29 in the afternoon, so it didn't take all day, which is a good thing. But it took a good amount of time, so basically that entire row of trees, as you can see, is now gone. And that will help with things like the sugarcane harvest and so forth that we're going to need to do. And then obviously there we have our initial vineyard. So very excited about that, at least from trying it out, seeing how it works. I may not be so excited about it later once I work it for a bit. You know, I brought this in here, but I can go ahead before I disconnect this. I'm going to head over to the oil mill. So the other thing I need to do is I need to sell 6,000 sunflower oil, as you can see, over to Stu's farm shop. So let me get over to the oil mill, get that loaded up, see if we can get that completed, see if we have 7,000 liters, because if we don't, or 6,000 liters, because if we don't, obviously I'm going to have to remedy that. So I'll see you down at the oil mill. Alright, so we have 6,000 liters of sunflower oil. I thought I had that all planned out, and I did. So I need to take that up to Stu's. So I'm going to make my way through the forest, and I will go ahead and get to Stu's. I'll see you there. So as we head on over, this is the spot right here, right in that grass around the road, between the hedges and the road. There was a tree there. You can go back and look at previous videos that I'm working that field on if you want to take a look at that. So we've had a lot of deliveries to Stu's. A production item should be pretty substantial in the amount of money we make. There we go, our second green item. Again, another 30,000. Alright, I'm going to leave that trailer there. We'll deal with the tomatoes later. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 37,000 liters of sunflowers down to the oil mill. Now the other thing I did determine as I was working on the trees is I was in fact not getting paid anything from the carpentry. And I think that is because we own it, and so therefore we basically don't pay ourselves. So I am imagining that I'm going to have the same situation with the sunflowers as well, as I am not going to make any income off of this sunflower order being delivered. And that's a bit disappointing because from this one standpoint, I I'm not necessarily planning on turning that into anything. Right now, there's no need for any sunflower oil, for example, but I can just let the production run. Although on second thought, the one thing I don't know is if suddenly I need a different type of oil from that factory and the sunflower's already been produced, and obviously some of it will be sitting in the output, but then the remainder is set to be offloaded from the plant once there's room outside in the loading dock. Let's say I needed canola oil instead. If I suddenly had all the sunflower oil that got created from 37,000 liters of sunflower seeds, and I needed to do something with it, I'd potentially be removing it instead of keeping it there. So at this point, this will really be, in essence, I think, nothing different than storing 37,000 sunflowers instead of my silo. I'll be storing it in my oil mill for future use, potentially. It's just I can't get those sunflower seeds out again as sunflower seeds. The only way they emerge from that building is as oil. That is how the productions operate. So sunflower seeds are not an output of the oil mill. Only sunflower oil is. And the logic there is you wouldn't be taking this there unless you were planning on producing something from it, hence the production mills. But with the VIP order manager, things are not necessarily that cut and dried. Now I could, once again, turn around and do that, then just turn around and sell the oil just as extra added income. But at this point, I'm just going to stage those type of things as if I need them, they're there. But and if I need them, they're there from multiple points. Like if I suddenly do need extra income, I'll have things like this waiting around that can go ahead and operate appropriately if I need them, but otherwise they can just go ahead and wait until they're needed for something else. And that would be, for example, another VIP order that suddenly needed sunflower oil. I now am ready to go, as opposed to processing it through and then suddenly needing that later on. So with all these trees, it tends to be simpler to switch into first-person view to get through this gate. Determine that when I was coming in here to get the sunflower oil. Just need to figure out where the sunflowers themselves go. There we go. It's been a while, so get this completed, and as you can see, we've got that other VIP order going ahead, but you can see there's no cash change, which is because we own the production mill. But we've got 3 of our 5 orders taken care of. I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to load up more tomatoes and get the next load to Stu's farm, and I'll check back in then once I've done that to give you an update on if we're ready to finish the tomatoes. Alright, so we do have enough tomatoes. We actually have 1 extra pallet. Well, technically we would have had 2, but we had the same problem as with the strawberries, except a little more accentuated. There's 5,004 needed, so I need an additional pallet to cover the 4 tomatoes we're short, 4 liters we're short. But at this point, I'll be able to have 4 out of 5 of the level 10 orders done, and I'm pretty sure we have enough soybeans in the field to cover everything that we need for that order, and probably then some. So we'll probably be storing some soybeans as well. So I've got the greenhouses. I was gonna say what is happening, but it was the extra bit. It just didn't pay out until it was done, but So soybeans are it. So I would say, pretty good for a day's / a month's work, the way this works. That's the benefit of being able to stage things a little early. And we've had some things ready for a while. I mean, think about back when sunflowers were grown and then we use that to produce oil. We still have some extra sunflowers left. So, planning ahead lets us do things like this where we can then very quickly have the farm achieve the bonus for the next level, which has been putting us in a pretty good space. Because if you think about it, planting $200,000+ of vines for grapes to start a vineyard and still having 917,000 left, that doesn't happen too easily, especially if really all we've been focused on is just the VIP orders. I've really done very little, if any, to supplement the funds that we're getting from any of the things from the VIPs. And certainly at this point, now that we're starting to own more productions, we're probably going to have more and more situations where we forego the harvest income for the benefit of maybe doing something different. And in that case, maybe I will eventually start selling things off, but it may not be necessary. That's part of when I started this series with the VIP Order Manager. Aside from the fact that I was certainly intrigued by it, one of the things I wanted to explore was, did it make a farm viable, or did it ask you to buy so many things that you just couldn't keep up? I'm sure because it's a random order creator, there's a possibility that there could be a creation, but that's not what we ran into here, of a creation that created some sort of a problem. So I'll go ahead and get this here. We'll leave that there because I'm going to need the Massey to haul the crops around as I work on those tomorrow. So at this point, I am going to call it a day. Not super early, it's already 7 o'clock. So certainly got a full day's work in, but we've made 4 VIPs happy, or at least completed 4 orders. And tomorrow we're basically staged up now. Got the harvester, we've got the trailer to grab the harvest, and we'll work on getting that 5th order complete, and then we'll see what things bring so that we can make some decisions regarding the equipment for our vineyard. So I'll see you next time.